Beneath the Massacre was playing with Despised Icon at the brewery in Raleigh, and I was wearing a Bulldoze hoodie, and so was my friend at the show. Like, he was going ape shit in the pit, and he was like hitting people with trash cans. I guess they were looking for some dude in a Bulldoze hoodie, but he just points at me. And I'm just sitting over here at the side of the pit, just watching the band play. I'm like, what? You know, what's going on? Okay. And that's all I remember. I remember who the f- I was in the moment.
Real quick before getting into today's episode, just wanted to shout out a few quick things. First of all, we have a Patreon. For as low as $1.50 a month, you can get early access to these episodes as well as your name in the credits. And with the $5 tier, you can gain access to member-only channels in our Discord server, as well as be a part of the group calls that Yan and I do every second Friday. Secondly, we have merch. 2 designs that we absolutely love. You can find those over at indiemerchstore.com. And last but not least, we do these podcast recordings live on Twitch. So if you want to be a part of the conversation, see these as they happen. We do those every single Wednesday at 7 p.m. EST. Yeah, that's it. Links to everything I just mentioned will be in the description, along with links to our Discord server and our other socials. That's it. That's all I got to plug. Enjoy the episode. Joe of On Solid Ground, my man. How are we doing? Welcome to the stream, man.
I'm doing all right. Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
Of course, talking about, you know, OG MySpace stuff is what we love to do. And guess what? That's exactly what you did. So perfect.
Yeah,
match.
absolutely. Way back in the day.
Really is. We're trying not to think of how many years, honestly. We're really trying, because sometimes you realize and you're like, oh, 2007 is a while. You know what I mean? Like, in my mind, it's not. Yeah, and then you're like, oh, yeah, okay. Like, when people are calling it like classic OG, you're like, oof, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That's when you realize.
I thought I would have made it to this point.
Nope.
To be OG.
Yeah. Never.
Yeah, we were chatting it up before starting here about 20-year anniversary stuff and how a lot of the classic deathcore records are hitting 20 next year. So that definitely ages us a bit.
I think these bands have been doing it for 20, 30 years, man. It's insane.
Incredible. You know, you take a band like, for example, like Whitechapel, right? They're still there, and they were here in freaking 2006. You know, can you imagine like all the? It's pretty insane. I think my favorite part is that those classic, quote unquote classic, you guys know that back then everybody was shitting on it, right? Like, that's kind of, you know what I mean? Like, all those classic albums that now we're like, oh my God, wow. Tons of those albums were being like, not by us, but by a lot of the like metal scene and the reviewers and stuff like that. And now they prove them wrong. Yep.
Yeah. I'd say it was shit. Now you're looking at it and Somatic Defilement is like the OG album, you know?
There we go.
It's kind of crazy. You've been out of doing the music thing for a minute, but you're still a music enjoyer. You were telling me you were at a concert last night. You sent me some Conan, was it?
Yeah, so they're like they're a pretty heavy, slower, like doom metal band called Conan. They played with another band called Mares of Thrace, which is actually a duo, and they were pretty heavy, so they were pretty cool. But yeah, dude, I try to get out to shows as often as I can. I have kids now, 2 of them, so I don't get to get out as often as I would like. But yeah, I've been to a few shows recently. Got to see the Casualties last week with my homies in One by One. They're a local band out here from Raleigh. They're more of like a street punk band. So yeah, I like seeing everything, man. I'll go to any show.
Oh yeah, man. It's one of those things sometimes where you do hear it a lot though, that some people maybe they fall out of making music and then they just completely disappear from the scene, but also just kind of go into shows altogether and just somehow happens to a lot of people. It's just cool to see you're still at least interested in music. We can have a conversation today.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Like I I consider myself kind of like a recluse. I don't go very many places. I will go to shows. I'll hang out with some friends here and there. But yeah, as far as the music scene goes, I go to shows here and there. That's it. I'm steady on Spotify every day, so I will listen nonstop to music. So I can talk some music, but as far as being active, I haven't been active for, I don't know, it's been a while.
To be fair, that's kind of what we do, though. We love, like, just on the record, like some of our favorite episodes are with people that are not even, you know, like they did some stuff. Like a good example I have in my mind, like when we did Brendan, right, from Veil of Maya, like their first, he wasn't doing music anymore, just to go back in time and to hear all about that. Yeah. It's kind of one of our favorite parts to you know, basically just
we're forced to talk about the good old days and not you know, so sometimes, you know, sometimes the new projects are cool too, but sometimes it's fun to just talk about the golden days, you know.
I swear, had you caught me probably 10 years ago, I would have said no to this. So I'm like, man, just let it die. You know, like this was years ago, just let it die. But now I'm like, yeah, you know, people actually want to see this. So sure, why not?
Yeah, man. Well, dude, I mean, first off, shout out to Ricky from Secret Swarm for connecting us in the first place, because you're kind of off the grid at this point. So big thank you to Ricky for making this happen. I know you guys did the vinyl re-release last year with him. We'll get to touch on that. I really do also want to talk about the topic of inhales in general, the Christian deathcore band thing, and I think maybe we could kind of start it off with just what it was like for you being a hardcore kid in North Carolina. Like, what was that like? What was the scene like? What can you kind of set the stage of you getting into music maybe, and what the scene was like back then?
Yeah, so I'm from Fayetteville, North Carolina, and the scene back then was a lot different than it is today. It's pretty non-existent in Fayetteville. You get a lot of more music now in Raleigh, Charlotte, Greensboro. You have stuff out in Asheville. You will have some stuff out on the Outer Banks. But Fayetteville, it's all the venues that used to be here are just dead. They don't exist anymore. But yeah, growing up, dude, it was, looking back, it was kind of sketchy, man. Because I'd be 15, 14 years old. I think my first show was when I was 14. I saw a handful of bands. I think it was, I'm going to get this wrong. There was a local band called Music Box Murder, Psyopus, Everything Falls Together, and then a few other local bands, Choose Your Weapon, and I think Forged in Hate played that show too. I think that was the whole show. Psyopus as a first concert, you're saying? Yeah. I didn't know who they were. Yeah, my friend just invited me out. He was like, hey man, my buddy's band, because they're buddies with the dudes in Choose Your Weapon and Forged in Hate. I got a couple buddies in there in those bands too. But that's the first time I'd ever heard of Psyopus. I'd never seen them before, and it blew my mind. Yeah. I was like, what is this? You know, it was different from the music I was used to listening to. It was just a lot more chaotic. But I did like it. So it was a pretty cool show. But yeah, the scene was just kind of more, I guess, more mixed together when I grew up. You know, you had hardcore bands playing with metalcore bands. There wasn't really a distinction. You know, you just had all these bands that liked heavy music and played with one another. But now it's just kind of, it seems more distinct. You've got hardcore here, metalcore here. You've got these shows that will, you know, I'll see playing at like the local 506 or Hangar 1819 out here. And it's just, you know, you've got metal, you got hardcore. It's just a lot more separated. So
yeah. The crowds are fine with it too. It wasn't like a weird thing where the metalheads were beefing with the hardcore kids and stuff like that.
Not really, not from what I remember. I mean, I know there were fights, there were things going on. I've been knocked out at a show before. It's just, you know, that's a crazy story. But not over like the music. Like I just remember going to all these different shows and seeing all of this array of bands playing these different shows, at least in Fayetteville.
I don't know about you, Dom, but I'm really interested in the knockout thing.
We're here for the stories, my man.
Yeah.
if you care to elaborate.
It was actually, so was actually Beneath the Massacre was playing with Despised Icon at the brewery in Raleigh, and I was wearing a Bulldoze hoodie, and so was my friend at the show. So we both showed up at the show wearing the same hoodie. I didn't know he was going to wear the same thing. But he went nuts. Like, he was going fucking ape shit in the pit, and he was like hitting people with trash cans, doing some crazy shit. And the tallest motherfucker in the room just, I guess they were looking for some dude in a Bulldoze hoodie, but he just points at me. And I'm just sitting over here at the side of the pit, just watching the band play. I'm like, what? You know, what's going on? Okay. And he starts charging me, and I'm like, oh, fuck. Like, what the hell is happening? And that's all I remember. I just remember being dragged out by my friend John Barnhill and Ben to the back alley, and just kind of having to come to, just remember who the fuck I was in the moment. Because I guess they were looking for this other guy, my other friend, you know, wearing the same hoodie. So I didn't do anything. It wasn't my fault. It was my friend's fault. He should have gotten knocked out. But yeah, it was a crazy show. You know, my friend John we still talk about that all the time. It's just that was a crazy night. And I drove home like an hour and a half home.
Sure.
I probably had a concussion. So.
Yeah, probably not the smartest thing, but hey, you do what you got to do.
The whole ride back, I think I was asking, what was he telling me I was asking? I think I was asking, like, what band played? Like, who did we go see?
Oh, no.
It's not a good sign.
I was out of it. It was not a good sign, but I wouldn't let anybody else drive. So that was my stupid decision.
I just imagine the scenario. I just imagine the scenario where you get knocked out, guy in the Bulldoze hoodie, and then the guy probably sees you being dragged out, but then he still sees the guy in the Bulldoze hoodie in the pit. They're like, wait,
maybe I
thought I knocked this guy out.
I don't know. I don't honestly, I don't remember much about that night after that happened. I don't remember if that friend drove with me or if he drove separately. I don't remember seeing him after the show. I just remember all the dudes came out back behind the brewery, and there was some words said just because other people knew what happened. My friends were pretty upset, calling people names, but they just, you know, they kind of just told us to get out of there because they didn't really know who we were. So we left in the middle of Despised Icon.
Yeah, I gotta say, I would have been a bit concerned if my friend driving would not remember the band we just saw as he's driving. I would have been maybe a bit concerned. But fortunately, you're here. You were fine. So
what do you do at that point, though? You're not, homie's not gonna like walk out of the car, you know?
Yeah, and it was an old Honda Civic stick shift too, man. I had to shift gears the entire way, so it was.
Which way does
it was pretty nuts,
go?
but hey, yeah, they didn't say anything about it, and they were cool with it, so they could have told me to, you know, get the fuck out of the seat and let them drive.
Sure.
But nope.
There we go.
He lived to tell the tale.
Yeah.
So what was it then about, like, what got you on the mic? What kind of progressed from like seeing your first shows to being interested in actually, you know, doing something in a band or pursuing music?
Honestly, man, I think ever since I started listening to like hardcore music, I just wanted to be in a band. So I would fantasize about that for years to come. And then I started going to shows locally, started meeting people. I'd say probably a year or two after I started going to shows, I met our drummer, Garrett. We would hang out at shows. I'd see him, met a bunch of other people. And Garrett just knew everybody in the scene back then. So, and everybody knew Garrett. And
everybody
he actually
a drummer.
Me. Yeah, basically. Yeah. He had been in like two other bands before. He was in the Music Box Murder, the one band, the first show that I went to.
Okay.
So he was in one of those bands, and I didn't know it till a lot later. But he actually introduced me to another guy, Jared, who was our guitar player, lead guitar player, and played for a band called Phoenix Down back then. But he wanted to do some more like, they were kind of more like metal, more kind of riff technical, not like heavy. And he just wanted to do some heavy music. So I honestly don't know. Actually, no, I do remember. sorry, I'm gonna have to go back into this story that I just remembered.
Mm-hmm.
So Garrett was in a band called Anna Morgan with a couple of his friends, and they were playing a show at this high school when I was probably 15. Yeah, I was probably 15. And they were trying to do like a despised icon thing. So they wanted like dual vocalists. And they only had one vocalist at that show. And they were like, hey, like, you know, you want to get on the mic? You want to like, you know, you want to do some shit? I was like, I don't know any of the fucking words, dude. Like, what? He's like, dude, don't worry about it. Just say stuff, you know, just make noises. And I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. Like, I'm sure I'll make some pig squeal noises. I'll do some inhales and do the despised icon thing. So we did that. And I think that's what got me kind of in with Garrett. Because he kind of like told Jared about me. And then Jared and Garrett came to me and was like, hey, we're starting this band. You want to do vocals?
It's
like,
kind of,
yeah, I want to do vocals.
I have to point out, it is ironic that like the hardcore guy ended up not doing the hardcore parts in the despised icon ripoff thing, right?
Yeah.
Like you went to doing the gutturals and the inhales.
Yeah, you know, back then it wasn't like I was still learning about music too. Like I didn't know what the fuck. I didn't know the difference between hardcore, metalcore, metal, black metal, any of that stuff. Like it was heavy music to me, you know? I just listened to what I liked. And I knew that bands were kind of going that way. You know, inhales were kind of in back then. I saw a lot of bands doing it. And just said, fuck it. Like, dude, it could have been a hardcore band. It could have been a punk band. It could have been a black metal band. I just wanted to be in a band. So I was like, yes, whatever you guys want to do, I'll do it. If it's heavy, cool. So
I think it was about sounding as heavy as you can. As you said, I don't think there was much, maybe in some cases, but most vocalists were just trying to just do the nastiest vocals ever by any means they could. I think there was maybe less thought of, okay, so that's, you know, this or that. It was just like, that's what I do and this is how it sounds, you know, so.
Yeah, and there were tons of other vocalists who were a lot heavier than I was. I was like, when we recorded that shit, I was 16, I think, when we recorded that.
That's crazy.
That LP, and I was still learning what to do. Like I was more focused on my high range than inhales. Like I didn't care about anything else. I just wanted to sound like fucking Daniel from Zao. That was my big influence. Like that's what I cared about the most was, can I sound like Daniel? Can I sound like Zao? Everything else was just like, okay, yeah, we'll throw in some lows, we'll throw in some mids here and there. And, you know, other bands were doing it. So I was just like, you know, just come up with my own sound, do what I want to do.
That's something I was kind of curious about, like influence wise, like what other vocalists you were kind of not necessarily trying to imitate, but like who were you like really digging at that time outside of like Zao?
Aside from Zao, during that time period, because I was also listening to like all the stuff that Garrett was sending me and Jared was sending me. I think we talked about this a little bit, Dom, but yeah, Misericordium, just like, that's probably who I wanted to sound like the most. I don't ever feel like I got there. But yeah, like that, they were just the hardest, heaviest metalcore band for me back then. And Nick just made those vocals sound incredibly fucking nasty. And that's what I wanted to sound like. So
you can kind of see the similarities, even just kind of in the ranges, right? Between the inhales, but then also the highs and the lows that aren't inhales. Like I can see the link now that you talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just all sorts of bands, man. Like I grew up, you know, with, like Zao was the first hardcore album I ever bought. This band Ludacris, I found them pretty early on. Norma Jean, fucking Black Dahlia Murder, from everything from that to like Nevermore and Moonspell. Like I listened to everything. So I would just take little bits that I wanted here and there. And I'd be like, hey, you know, I kind of want to sound like this guy. I'll kind of do it this way. But for the most part, yeah, just to answer that question, it definitely Zao, top of the list, and then Misericordium for the lows. The mids were just kind of something I don't know. I think I was just like trying to figure out how to do patterns and how I wanted it to sound. I was like, this sounds pretty good. So I just started doing it.
That's cool. That's awesome. It's, there's like a weird disconnect, I feel, between like when you're really, really young, you like don't know anything about music at all. And it's just kind of like, let's just listen. I'm just listening to what I enjoy. Like there's no labels, you don't know any of this shit. And then there's like a fine line where eventually a lot of people fall into, oh, I only like deathcore. I'm a deathcore kid, or I'm a metalhead, or I'm this. And then they kind of just start, they project as people that only listen to one thing, when in reality is probably not the case most of the time. Right. But it's just funny how a lot of people fall into that. But for you, it's interesting because you were so young, right? You're saying you recorded the album, you're 16, right? So it's kind of like probably not even at that point of like starting to be anal about the way you want to present yourself when it comes to music and stuff like that, you know?
No. Dude, I was still listening to Korn and System of a Down, you know? Like I listened to everything. It just depended on it was whatever I wanted to listen to during the day, you know? So every influence from everywhere. I love all forms of music. I'll listen to anything.
Yeah, that's the conversation we have pretty often, because now it feels like it's really important to, you know, this is metalcore, this is deathcore. Back in the days, you would listen to what you would listen to, right? Like people would listen to Suicide Silence, Immure, The Devil Wears Prada, whatever, and nobody would think much more than that. It was just like, oh, that's cool, love that band. Like it was one big scene of just like, to me as a kid, it was just like there's breakdowns in it, I'm here. That was basically my, you know, heavy vocals, breakdowns. That's I'm sold. That's the only thing you need. So it was maybe it was just a perception, but it felt maybe less labeled because deathcore was just starting to be a thing. There was less of a in the box.
Were you guys even calling yourselves deathcore? You know, then probably not. I assume maybe on the cusp of. You know,
I don't know. I just remember being super young. This is gonna kind of come out of nowhere. I remember seeing a video where Vince was talking. Yeah, Vince from the Acacia Strain was talking, and I don't know why. Just one thing he said that stands out to me is like, dude, just stop calling it fucking deathcore. And I'm like, oh, is deathcore bad? Like, why should I stop calling it this? So, I mean, we call ourselves metalcore, deathcore, or whatever. I mean, I don't give a fuck nowadays, you know?
Yeah.
It is what it is. It is what it's evolved into.
Well, nowadays it's different because we have the hindsight, and like for us specifically, like we're older, we probably just don't give a shit. Like, you know, like we don't care about the labels, right? But it's just interesting because back then there was like, to your point, like there was like a stigma around it, right? There was, you know, someone like Vince from Acacia Strain had always been super vocal about like, no, don't get it twisted. We are not a deathcore band, you know? And it's just, it's kind of funny to me. This is kind of like, and I'll make this quick, but we recently had some conversations online about like who invented deathcore and stuff like that. And a lot of people were pointing out, the Acacia Strain, and then people were complaining, why does the Acacia Strain never get brought up? And and I'm like, dude, because I remember back then the exact same thing you're just talking about. They were so hell bent on not being associated whatsoever with deathcore that I can't like willingly be like, yeah, they invented deathcore. Like, you know, like they even if they had, it'd be like a disservice to them. Like they would want no part in it, right? So I don't know. Maybe they've changed their stance on it since, but it's just a funny conversation that always kind of creeps up.
Yeah, that's hilarious, man. I remember those days.
It's, you know, my theory personally, especially with someone like Vincent and Acacia Strain, who always had like a very hardcore image. Like someone from the outside could easily think that it's a hardcore band, that's it. I think deathcore, because it was seen as like Bring Me the Horizon and more of a emo scene look with skinny jeans, I'm pretty sure the last thing you want as like a hardcore dude fronting like a hardcore scene and like the shows are heavy is to be seen as this for them. And I'm speaking, I'm not saying that in a bad way. I mean, I was part of the emo whatever, like I'm still that, to be fair. So like I understand, but I'm just trying to picture. I feel like for some people that was bothering, like kind of the we're not on this emo crap.
It wasn't even about the music at that point. Yeah.
I think I could be wrong, but I think that's kind of what, and a lot of bands, you know, like We Came with Broken Feet, or like a lot of bands were kind of goofing around, not being super serious, kind of making jokes with the music, the Turricula and stuff like that. So I feel like Deathcore was seen as a maybe less serious thing for those people, like, oh, they're kids, emo kids doing their thing. So a lot of people were just like, that's not what we are type. That's from an outside perspective, I think that's what happened. But again, I'm just speculating, right? I'm not talking for Vincent, but he always hated the term. I'm pretty sure even Imure recently were just like, we're not deathcore. So it's there's a few bands like that that are just like, don't call us like that. So
plus once you get something a label name anyway, like you start to create that type of segregation, you know. I'm assuming that's just what they didn't want, because I know Vince's you know, his musical interests are very diverse, so I know he likes everything from hardcore to metalcore to every, you know, anything. So
yeah,
maybe that's just what they were trying to stay away from.
Probably. And whether he likes it or not, though, he was influential for the deathcore scene. I'm just gonna say that.
Okay.
Like, so, sorry, but like
Still
he
one of
was
my favorite
still
bands, dude. They're still fucking sick.
When I found that, as someone who wanted almost only breakdowns in my music, when I found the Acacia Strain, I was like, oh, that exists. Like that's, you know, I mean, it was like breakdowns after breakdowns, two steps and stuff. So he even
heavier.
I mean, yeah, and he as a vocalist, I think, is still influencing tons of people within the deathcore scene. So maybe he doesn't want to be associated with it, but at the very least, on the bright side, he did influence tons of people with the band. So there's that.
Yeah, I saw them. I think it was either Father's Day this year or Father's Day last year. I saw them with Tribal Gaze, and they're still just as sick, just as heavy. They've pulled just as many people.
Yeah, they've been kind of having a glow up recently. I don't know what it is. Not to say they had a slump, but I feel like there's like more hype for the Acacia Strain right now than there ever has been. I feel like they're like on the up and up, and it's cool. It's cool to see, because it's dude, for any band to be still around, period, after so long, and to still remain, you know, relevant the way they have. That's it's cool. It's cool to see.
Yeah, dude. I remember. I mean, I think 3750 was one of the albums we listened to all the time back then. Like, just fucking love that album, dude. And then every album that came after was just heavy.
Yeah.
Wormwood's probably my favorite album that they have. It's such a fucking heavy album.
Yeah, they hit like a sweet spot there where it's like even more down-tuned and even, you know, and even sludgier than before. And it was just like, all right. The production was kind of different on that one too. Like, I don't know, there was like a lot of. Yeah, that was a cool record. Just a quick second to talk about the sponsor of today's episode, Indie Merch Store. Massive news from the Red Chord. Clients is available for the first time ever on vinyl via Metal Blade Records, featuring brand new art elements that are not in the 2005 CD layout, and also mastered for vinyl by Zeus. Pick up the Indie Merch exclusive vinyl variant, neon green with black swirl, along with tons of brand new merch and bundles over at indiemerchstore.com. Carcosa also just announced their brand new album, The Axe Forgets, The Tree Remembers, and you can secure limited vinyl and CDs, plus tons of killer merch, tees, hoodies, flags, and more, all over at indiemerchstore.com. You can use code BRUTALITY at checkout for 10% off your entire order. Again, that's code BRUTALITY at checkout for 10% off your entire order. Massive thank you to Indie Merch Store for supporting the show. And now, back to the episode. You know, we're kind of talking about labels and stuff like that, and I want to have a broader conversation than just the label aspect of it. But you know, you guys were kind of known as the Christian deathcore band.
Yeah.
I'd love to kind of talk about that. Like, was, you know,
Okay.
maybe like how that came about? Like, was it just because you guys were all Christian? You're like, oh, let's make this thematically about this, like, and then obviously there's a conversation to be had about, you know, Christianity and deathcore was barely a thing and kind of at odds with a lot of what deathcore was doing in general. So I don't know. Yeah, I would love to kind of pick your brain on that. Like, why, I guess to begin, yeah, like the why make that a part of the music, and where did that kind of come in for you guys? Again, were you guys all super young? Were you like 16, but everyone else was super young as well, your age, or were some of the members a bit older?
So I believe I was 16 when we first started talking about it. I know Garrett, I want to say Garrett was either 17 or 18. So he was older than I was. Jared was older. Jared was in his 20s. And then David was in his 20s, and Matt was around the same age as Garrett, I want to say. Don't quote me. I don't remember how old Matt was.
You were the young one. Yeah, at the very
I was the young one. Yeah,
yeah.
I was the runt. Christian deathcore, man. To be honest, I don't know the answer to that question. I don't honestly remember who said this is going to be a Christian band. I think it's just something we all agreed upon. I will say, when I had the conversation on the phone with Garrett and Jared, and they were asking me to be a part of the band, and we were talking about names, they shot out the name On Solid Ground, and that kind of stuck out to me, just because my dad, before he died, wrote a book called On Solid Ground. It's a short, small book. Didn't really get into circulation that much.
I saw photos of this online when I was doing some research, but I had no idea that this was linked whatsoever.
Yeah, it's the Christian Basics. So it was a small, short book just on how to live a Christian life that he wrote. And I guess one of my friends, from what I heard, and I don't know if this is actually true, but one of my friends had this book, just saw it on their bookshelf. It was like, oh, On Solid Ground. That's a pretty cool fucking name. So then they bring it to me, and I'm like, oh, that's the name of my dad's fucking book. Like, yeah, of course we're going to go with that name. I will say I did grow up in a pretty strict Christian home. So I'm not sure if the reason we became a Christian deathcore band was because I was still 16 living at home, and my mom wanted me to, you know, you can't listen to that devil music. You know, you can't do this unless it's Christian, which at the time was fine with me, as long as I got to be in a band. I didn't really care. So I held pretty strong to that faith back then. I don't anymore. But at that time, like, that was a big part of my life. Like, I grew up in a Christian home. I went to church every Sunday. I was involved with the youth group. That's where I have half my friends. That's where I met half my friends. So we just decided to roll with it. The guys didn't care. They didn't say anything about it. You know, Garrett and Jared were Christian. I'm not so sure about David and Matt. But it was just kind of the vision we all kind of had, and it just kind of came together, really. So yeah, that's basically how it came together, honestly.
Was there a bit of a Christian metal scene where you were at, or you guys were kind of like the lone Christian band and were only playing with non-Christian bands? Like, were there Christian bills? Like, I'm trying to like imagine back then, like, you know, being in that sort of band and playing with others.
We were kind of the lone Christian band. Once we started, though, there were some local bands that popped up that wanted to do the same thing, that were Christian metalcore bands. And also, like, a lot of the friends I had in the church, I don't want to say a lot, but some of them went to shows and were in other secular bands.
Sure.
And, you know, they still claimed Christianity. So they didn't really see it as sort of a taboo thing, I guess. You know, it was kind of widely accepted. I think it was more so just when we started playing shows, we were just good enough for them not to care, for them not to talk shit, you know? So, but yeah, no, we didn't really get any flack from anybody. We didn't really think anything of it, honestly, because I was so immersed in being a Christian myself that it was just like, okay, this is normal.
It's cool. It's cool to hear, because prior to the podcast, we were talking about the fact that in the metalcore scene specifically, being Christian was a plus, even, with bands like the Divorce Strata, all those, like, it was kind of a thing. Even Attack at first labeled themselves as like kind of Christian, and it was a big thing. But in deathcore, it was almost the opposite. Like, it's cool that you guys didn't get any flag, but like a band like Impending Doom, for example, all those bands, like, they're, first of all, there are very few, and second of all, it's kind of the opposite thing that happened, in which people are almost sometimes upset that there's like a Christian band doing like deathcore, which, is another thing, being upset for, just, it's weird. But maybe it's because, maybe people didn't realize you were a Christian. Maybe there's a part of that sometimes, if you just listen to the music, oh, that's sick, maybe that's what happened. But I'm pretty sure if we ask Impending Doom, they probably got a lot of a lot of flack. Christian
I'm sure they did, man.
I'm
sure they did. I mean, Brook and those guys, I mean, they've established themselves so much now that I don't think they would get any flack. But I do think in the beginning, probably, I would imagine so. But it was kind of interesting back in the day. I don't know, maybe they didn't. Because I do remember very early on when Whitechapel was exploding and Impending Doom were exploding. It was a very big, like, Brook and Phil versus each other, like, here's Impending Doom, here's
the guttural race. Yeah.
I remember that. I remember seeing a picture, I think, of Phil and Brook just right next to one another, just looking at each other real angry. So
I remember that was Satan versus God.
But I'm sure I would hope they're friends. They seem to be really good friends. So we got to play with them once, and I got to meet Brook a handful of times. So it was cool. But there was never any, like, I never felt any animosity toward it or from anybody about being a Christian band. So if there was, nobody said anything.
I think it has to do, and it's just maybe a perception, but it has to do with the way you quote unquote act on it. You know what I mean? Like, if for some people, I think if over and again you repeat like the same things, or trying to, like, talk a lot about it, maybe then it's different than if you're just, you know what I mean?
You're just
like,
a dude. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. If you're just doing your music and that's your message and that's what you like, it's all good. If you want to talk a little bit on stage, it's something. But it's been known that some bands were really intense with that. You know what I mean? Like, constantly just like, then I can see a little bit how some people could be bothered.
We all for today was like the big one that were very basically having sermons on stage between songs, like full on. And
I never got into it, man. I never did. They were a band I never got into.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I ever saw them.
Even the music, even the breakdowns and stuff, or was it your thing?
For today?
Yeah, no, never.
It was just very heavy. Like, not heavy music wise, heavy just in, like, I almost felt like it was we're really going to shove this down your throat.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's just my personal take, my personal opinion. Like, if you want to sing about what you believe in, fucking go for it. But if you're going to start preaching to me on stage, even as a Christian, like, I'm good, dude. Like, I'll go see some other band that I want to see play.
Well,
that's just my opinion. I know people are going to say, fuck that guy, but
that's where most of the disconnect.
It's fair.
I think that's where most of the disconnect came, and why this conversation is kind of interesting, because I feel like there were a lot, like, back then there just did happen where there were a lot of bills, these tour lineups or these show lineups where it was like, we'll not call them a satanic band, but a band that is clearly not Christian. And a preachy band on the same lineup, and then you've got like the fans of either that are kind of at odds with whatever is going on when it's not the band they came there for. So that's always been kind of a weird thing to navigate, at least back then, right? I think it's less of a prevalent thing now, but I just remember hearing so many stories back in the day of, like, just not even the bands amongst themselves, but the fans being at odds with each other at a single show, right?
Sure.
And it's kind of crazy to think about, but
And
I'm sure
on
you get
the
to believe this, man. You're gonna butt heads.
That's kind of part of, but and just to close like that thing, but I think Impending Doom is actually a good example of doing it right in terms of being a Christian band, but just, you know, like I saw a lot of old videos because that, again, we're nerds and we watch all that stuff. And he would say certain things, but within, like, the song is playing and he would do certain, like, he would say certain things building up to something. That's cool, it's fine, like, people are enjoying the music and stuff like that. But when you stop your freaking set and everybody's just like, they're here for a show, like, they're here to throw down mosh and stuff like that, you stop in the middle and you're just like, let me tell you about something. Like, that's anything you would say, even if it's not about, you know, beliefs or whatever, anything, if you stop your set and you just talk for a long time, it's just gonna bother people, you know, no matter what. That's,
I mean, I always assume some people were there for that, you know, obviously, like bands like For Today were doing it because they had an audience that were down for that sort of stuff, I assume, right? But it's just the part of a show which implicitly involves more people than just your own fans, right? That's that's like where the disconnect always comes in, because it's not just about the one band. Even if they're headlining, you know, there's a whole ass 4 other bands playing as well. So unless you perfectly curate it to be like specific to this thing, which did happen, you know, but there's always going to be those things. But
there's specifically people the same day who wants to sing along unanswered by Suicide Silence. So just in contrast, for example, of, you know what I mean? So it's just, you know, I'm trying to picture, like, if I was in a Christian band, so those other things I would have maybe think about, like sure, there's people in the crowd who fucks with our lyrics, but there's also tons of people who won't. So maybe I wouldn't push it that, but
right. And I guess that's that's how I tried to be back in the day. I didn't, you know, like when I guess to go off of what you were talking about with Unanswered, when I did read the lyrics to that song, I was like, man, that hurts. Because I was a Christian back then. You know, I was like, fuck. All right, you know, I guess what I'm doing is shitty, but at the same time, like, I would try to go to these shows and live life. I just wanted to meet people, man. I just wanted to hang out and see my fucking idols play shows, you know, like meet Phil, meet Brook from Impending Doom. I just wanted to meet these guys, play shows with them. I didn't give a fuck what they were saying on stage. I didn't care, you know, like even Zach from Elysia, like he's got some pretty harsh lyrics in there, man. Like I love him. I love him to death, but at the same time, it's very different from what we were singing about back then. And I would have loved to kick it with him, dude. It would have been fucking great. I would have loved it. He may have hated me because I'm a Christian. I don't know, but you know.
I don't want to speak for him, but I would be very surprised about that. Doesn't seem like the hateful. I mean, doesn't seem like it. The music, sure, has a lot of violence in it, but as a person, he's cool. So I really do. But I think you have a good point, though. Like, I think, like, we're talking about people reacting. I think it's almost like it's fair to say that a majority of people, they're there for the music. You know what I mean? Like, there's, like, you cannot, like, each band, or even if are some similarities, it's just, most people are just, you know, they want to hear the songs. That's pretty much it. They're not, like, going there for, like, one message from one band. Like, most people are just here to enjoy the show. So I think it's a good point you made.
Right. I was when I was doing some research, I was stumbling upon, there's something I was wondering about the lineup.
Okay.
So Garrett, but not Garrett the drummer. Garrett McGeehan from I Built the Cross, and he did some stuff with Disfiguring the Goddess. His name is like listed in like past members, but I couldn't find any other info about it. I was wondering that was just like some sort of typo. Yeah, and it was kind of random because he's like, I don't think nowhere near NorCal either. So.
That's probably a typo. Garrett, our drummer Garrett is Garrett Walters. So
yeah. Maybe they just had they typoed the wrong Garrett the first time around.
I think they probably did. Is that on like one of those like
one of those like metal websites that yeah. I just thought it could have made sense because I Built the Cross was like another Christian like deathcore band. I was like, oh, I guess there's like something to it, but he was a vocalist, so I don't know. I was wondering where that puzzle would have even fit, but
we'll say I don't know. So I don't know who filled those things out. I've seen them online, and I do know that Jared tried to continue the band for a little while after I left. And I'm not sure if he maybe did something with him for a little while and just didn't produce anything. I have heard one. I don't know how I found it. I don't know if I could ever find it again, but I heard one song that he made and Jared did vocals over it. He really wanted to continue with the band. It was kind of an odd parting for us, but I know he wanted to continue doing that. That was kind of his thing.
Well, was that pre or post reunion shows?
That was, I'm not sure. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I think it was it was probably right after we broke up. I think he tried to keep it going and then it just didn't happen. And then eventually a few years later, we ended up doing I think 1 or 2 reunion shows. Mm-hmm. So
you kind of touched on the recording the album at 16 years old. Can you kind of talk to us a little bit about how that was for you? Kind of, I assume, recording for the first time and kind of doing that record. I got tipped off that where you guys recorded potentially maybe the guy who records there was a bit weird, and I didn't have any specific stories for you, but I was maybe there's some stories to be told. I don't know, but
no, I don't have any stories, honestly. So Chris is Sacred Heart Studios. Our other guitarist, David, had a friend named Chris who kind of owed him a favor and just let us record in his studio. It was kind of a studio he had on the outside of his house. I personally don't ever really remember him being weird. He was a pretty cool guy. But the recording process was the most nerve-wracking shit I've ever had to go through in my life. I'm 16, I'm still figuring out my vocals, figuring out how to do patterns, figuring out what the fuck they're doing back there behind the glass. And I've got these people staring at me while I'm trying to scream into a mic. It was at 16, it was just very, very nerve-wracking. And I also I didn't have the most self-confidence back then. So it was like, oh shit. I need to get this right. I need to do this. I do remember one day it was just, I think I can still see Chris just behind the glass, just kind of just putting his face in his hands.
Oh no.
Just because I'm sitting here trying to do these patterns to this riff, and over here I'm this 16-year-old kid thinking, yeah, we can do it for the 58th time. Who gives a fuck? And he's just like, God damn it. Would you get it right this time? So it was nerve-wracking, but it was also really fun at the same time. Just hanging out with the guys there and being able to just see our music come together and actually hearing the finished product just it blew me out of the water, man. I was like, holy fuck, we actually did it.
An actual recording. It sounded good, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and still, it's one of those production that is still cool. You know what I mean? At least it sounds good, but I'm guessing at first it's nerve-wracking, also very intimidating, right? Everybody's watching, they hear every part of your vocals, every single, you miss a little thing and then they all heard. It's the worst.
Let's re-listen to this with no effects and no music behind it. Let's go.
Let's just listen to your vocals right here, the vocal track alone, with nothing else.
Bare inhales too, I'll be the first to say it. Not the greatest sounding, just by themselves,
No. It's got to be behind some
windy.
music. Got to be behind a heavy riff.
And now everybody's hearing it, and sometimes you know that you can do better. You don't want to re-listen, and people, oh, let's just re-listen to it, and you're just like, I know it's not the one. No, I just want to, and then you have to re-hear the version that you fully know that you messed up like 4 times in, and you're like that. Oh, no, let's just, and your self-esteem just goes
It's
like
just
that
like,
as you're recording. I
fail.
would guess though that you probably gain confidence as like a couple songs are done. It's cool. People are stoked with it. You see them being, I'm guessing you also gained confidence towards, after a couple of songs being completely done with the vocals, or maybe not.
I mean, we did it. I think it took a couple weekends for us to do, just because we had lives. I was still in high school at the time, so I had to schedule times to go out there. It was, I think, like a 45-minute drive from my house to go out to that studio. But I wouldn't say I gained confidence during the recording process. I would say I gained confidence after we started playing shows.
Okay.
Because I might be wrong here, but I don't think we started playing shows until after we had recorded the LP. We may have had a few. My memory fails me on that, but once the LP came out is when we really started pushing shows and playing.
Okay. You talked about nerve-wracking. I would be curious to, not to cut you off, Dom, but the first show, how did you feel stepping on stage? Because you talked about the recording and stuff like that. You said you played a couple, but I mean, like, playing the actual songs and like the first time, do you recall?
It was, I think I was terrified right up until the very moment that we started playing. And once we started playing, I was like, this is fucking sick.
Okay.
Like, we're doing it. And I was 16, like, holy, like, I'm living my dream right now. I'm in a band, I'm on stage, I'm performing for people, and people want to see us play. And I'm not saying we like packed the house or anything, but it wasn't a bad turnout for our first show. Like, people wanted to see us locally. So all our friends were there, and it was cool, man. I really, really liked it.
And you're in high school. That's the craziest. Yeah. You know what I mean? Then you go back and do your homeworks type thing. That's just like, cool.
Go back, do my homework, and now I'm trying to get my friends at school to be like, hey man, come out to Jester's Pub. I know it's this cheap dive bar down the road, but come out and see us play.
It's kind of a crazy thing, right? When you're recording the album, oh, what are you doing this weekend? Oh, I'm going in a studio. I'm recording. That's kind of wild too to think about, right? Like, it's people are just like, oh, what you do this weekend? Oh, we're gonna hang out on bicycles or something, and then you're going in studios writing patterns and shit. That's pretty
I'm actually curious to know, like, when did you guys first start recording music and getting into that?
You started early too, Dom, right?
Yeah, but I mean, not 16, that's for sure. I started dabbling with doing vocals around that age, but I didn't play shows but maybe 17, but didn't record at 17. Probably recorded for the first time I was almost 20.
Okay. How was that experience for you?
Okay.
I hate recording. I hate recording. I've always hated recording. It's the worst thing for me. It's so hard for me to get into the same headspace and like same kind of level of adrenaline that allows me to do vocals as I do them live. So I feel like I very rarely have been able to tap into the same thing as playing live on recording. So that's kind of like a constant battle in your brain of like, why can't I just sound how I normally sound every other day of the week? I jam, it's fine. I play a show, it's fine. Whether you use fucking the headphones and the environment, and like you said, it's not even like a self-conscious like people are looking at me type of thing. It just I don't know. Just the 1% of thinking about it too much probably that really fucks with me. But I've always start
thinking about it.
Yeah. I love when the songs are done and you can re-listen back to the result, and you're like, okay, this actually turned out way more cool than I thought it was going. But as you're doing it, I've always hated that shit.
It sucks, man.
So for me, I started really young, and I shouldn't have recorded any of that, but I did, and through Audacity and
I forgot about my Audacity days. So I screamed into a webcam before I did proper recordings. I don't know if that counts.
As it goes,
yeah.
as it goes, we had like SM58 and Audacity and some sort of like
Janky.
Fruity Loop drums or something like
Right,
just for.
right.
And I started there, but at first I wanted to do vocals, but my best friends, he was doing vocals, so I was just like, I'm gonna do the guitar. You know what I mean? Like I was like, I don't care. I just wanted to be in a band. So we started, and it was awful, like horrible. Like I would be so proud to go at school. I was doing what you were doing, except you were killing it and I wasn't, type thing. Like I was in high school being way too proud for what it was. Like, hey, it's my band, and people would be like, yeah, I can tell. Like it was just like horrible. But I was so happy to just upload shit on MySpace and be like, those are my songs. I had songs, if you can call it that. And because honestly, it was nothing. I don't even think it was a song. And so I started like that. But a couple of years later, it got quote unquote more serious, and I went in an actual studio, and I would do backup vocals with my friends and stuff like that. Don't even think I told them about that era specifically. So I would do the guitar, I would record the bass, and I would also do backup vocals. And it wasn't actual studios, you know, like one of those studios was the same as Blind Witness and shit. So that was at first terrifying, but then I had fun. And as intimidating as it can be, I thought it was easy for me to laugh at myself. If I would mess up something, I would just laugh and be like, let's just try it again. We would laugh together, put some even more effect on it so that it's even funnier. So that was okay for me, I guess. And then later, like, I mean, the past few years, it's been different. But when I first started, it wasn't intimidating because it was Audacity and we were terrible. So the bar was so low that I don't see how... I mean, like anything, we could record like a breakdown and it was like, oh my God, could have been like the worst thing in the planet. And I was just like, oh, we have a song right now. And it's basically two riff and a breakdown, and it lasts like 50 seconds. So that was my experience. And I think I was 15, 16, something like that.
That's cool. You knew how to laugh at yourself that young, though, because that was something I didn't learn until much later on in life. So kudos to you, man.
My friend showed that to me. Like I saw him. I remember thinking that he was like fearless. Like he just took the mic and try something, and then he would look at me and he was just like, that was awful, wasn't it? And we would just laugh at it. So that was it was showed to me like that. And I just kind of went with it. And I realized, because it's not a big deal. Like who cares? In your setting, it's different. You're with a band, you're in an actual studio. It's a bit different. But in Audacity, like, are you taking yourself even seriously? Recording with like your logo is made on paint. I think you're okay. Right. Like you'll be fine.
That's cool though, man. That's back in the day shit. I love that shit.
It really is. Yep. Multiple logos on paint. Let me tell you that much. Changing your band name every day. Like that's
this doesn't sound cool anymore. I'm gonna go with this band name.
And then you announce it like people care. Like on our MySpace, we had like 16 friends, and I would be like, new recording, that's the new name, like looking for a bassist. No one was looking at, like, no one in the world would ever care about what we would do. And we would announce, I would blog even, like, we're working on some, who's reading this except you and the people you punish for, like, no one cares. And I don't know, but good memories.
Where would you blog? Xanga? You guys remember Xanga?
No, never did Xanga.
You guys ever Xanga? Man, maybe that's too old.
Well, you gotta explain Xanga. What was this?
Xanga, it was just like it was, at least where I was from, it's like what everyone did before MySpace. It was just like a blog. So you'd write your own blogs, you could upload it whenever, you could do you know, you could go into the coding and change the color of the fonts. You could put banners up here and do that. It has been around for years.
But it's strictly blogs. It's like Blogspot or something like that. Like there's
blogs,
no like
yeah.
social.
You can decorate it.
Yeah. Okay.
But you can't. It's been so long. I don't even remember. I don't think you could do like friend requests or anything like that.
No,
but
that's it.
maybe you
It's
could.
just like
Maybe you could be friends with people.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember I could see all my other
blogs.
friends' Xangas, but it was. I think it's just, you know, that was happening at the time, and then shortly after MySpace came out, and MySpace just blew the fuck up.
Yeah.
It was just much easier to use.
Were you active on MySpace? Was that a thing you enjoyed?
Back in the day, yeah, MySpace was my shit, man. Honestly, I wish MySpace was still around and Facebook could get lost, but MySpace was just cooler, man. Like I like MySpace a lot more than I did Facebook. That's why I don't have any social media now. I hate it. I don't like any of it.
To understand more, I mean, it has to be the biggest downgrade we ever had, like ever, in terms of technology. It's supposed to be better, and then you click, and instead of being like an actual website with blogs and stuff, the only thing you see is like some banners with like a profile picture, some likes, and just like no media player. Like the absolute downgrade for any artists out there. It was just like the worst, and everybody switched. It was,
I mean, the all white is what kills me the most.
Default, like we went from having the coolest layout to go back to default MySpace, but worse. That's Facebook for you. That's what we've got.
Bro, you put your top friends list up there, man. You can see your top friends, who is your best friend, who is way down the list.
You could ruin somebody's day.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yep. You could be instantly hated by a lot of people just by switching your top 8.
I remember we got some traction because as a band, when we had a band MySpace page, because we had just recently played with Impending Doom and Whitechapel in I think it was at Thomasville at a skate park, or maybe it was a different venue. I can't remember. But you know, we all looked up to Impending Doom and Brook, so we wanted to hang out with Brook, chill with him, talk to him. So we talked to him, shared his music, shared our music with him, and for like I think it was 2 weeks, maybe even a month. They put our band as the top band on their MySpace page, which was like so fucking dope for us. Like we were so stoked and talked about it like all the time.
Look, Mom,
it was cool. You know, like a band could make you, they could put you on their top friends list, and it was so much cooler back then.
That's awesome. How was it, by the way, like meeting? Because you said you said he was cool and stuff like that. Do you remember a little bit how it went? Because like I'm an anxious person, so like meeting or coming up to like going to someone, it's just like intimidating. Do you remember a little bit how it first happened? Meeting
Brooks, he's taller than me. I don't think he's super tall from what I remember. Excuse me. But he's a pretty built guy. You know, he's not small in stature. Mm-hmm. He's pretty built, with the long hair that he had back then. But he's just so, from what I remember, he was just so personable and smiling and happy and just like, honestly, just like kind of goofing off, man. And we just really warmed up to him really fast. So I honestly don't remember getting much like personal one-on-one time with Brook. But I would see him even after On Solid Ground. I saw Impending Doom a few times, and I'd say what's up to him, and he'd remember me, and we'd talk for a little bit. But he's such a cool guy, man. Like I really enjoyed sharing the stage with him the few times that we did.
Brook was like, "Oh, the other Christian in the scene."
Here's the other Christian dude in the scene. What's up, dude?
Oh, he's still there. Cool.
We're talking like like 06, 7, 8, Impending Doom 2. That's like, those are some good years. Impending Doom. Like how were they live back then? Because I don't think I ever caught them like that early on.
Well, that was right after Nailed Dead Risen came out. That's my favorite Impending Doom album ever. Like,
still good.
I remember
I
love that album. It's the best one. Like I still liked after they changed their sound. I mean, I know they were trying to get heavier and heavier, but the sound they had on that album is like no other album you'll find in metalcore, in my opinion. And it's it's so good. I'll still go back and hit that record a few times.
The vocals too, I gotta say, still it was
great.
He's been teasing putting some inhales on the next record.
Yeah.
So
he's been teasing, has he really?
Yeah. He put out a tweet or something a couple of months ago saying, "Yeah, I'm fucking with some inhales again. Probably gonna be on the next record." So I'm here for it.
I hope he does that, man. I'm here for it.
I mean, fucking like that album and his vocals on that album. Not to take anything away from everything else they did moving forward, but like the vocal performance on Nail Dead Risen is like iconic. Like you can't like a lot of people reference that album and those vocals specifically. I mean, look, if we're talking inhales whatsoever, like you have that album is in the conversation guaranteed, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. 100%. And that's honestly, that's a band I forgot to mention. Like that, you know, we were kind of doing our thing, and then they just popped up. Like we started hearing about Impending Doom. We're like, oh shit, you know. I remember when they had their like original raw recordings on MySpace back when bands would do that. They just put a couple songs up, which actually, come to think of it, I think that's actually what we did. We put a few raw songs up for OSG, and then we went and did the LP. Now that I'm thinking about it, yeah. So somewhere out there are like one or two tracks that are very, very raw and trashy.
Someone has it, probably somewhere. A LimeWire link, maybe something like that.
It's gonna pop up one year and be like, "Holy shit! What is this?"
Yeah. Because Impending Doom during those years, like I fully remember when I first saw Impending Doom, to me, they appeared as big as Whitechapel, Suicide, Carnifex. Like to me, Impending Doom was like, has been, with perspective, they've always been very underrated, I believe. They should have gotten more traction than they did, even though they did well. But back then I fully remember just everybody, especially MySpace Deathcore, Impending Doom was as big as it can get, you know, like on top with all the other bands, right? So pretty insane.
Yeah, I don't know where that band not went wrong, but like I'll never understand how they didn't become like the biggest fucking band in the world. Even with like their change in sound and stuff, like to their credit, I think it was like a more accessible kind of thing they were going for too, which I don't know. I remember at the time people that were already fans not necessarily jiving with it so much, if like all you really wanted was inhales and, you know, Nail Dead Risen. Right. But at the same time, like I have a hard time imagining they wouldn't have gathered like new fans that would have like really enjoyed that sort of stuff as well. I don't know, man. The Impending Doom's there's a curious case, because now they're like, you look back on it as like, yeah, Impending Doom, like the best fucking band in the world. But like, you know, how were they not like one of the greats? I don't know, man.
Especially,
go ahead.
Sorry.
There you go.
Oh no, I was just saying, like in around 2012, it was still pretty early in the transition between like deathcore, beatdown, and gent and all that stuff. And when they released More Than Conqueror, to this day, to me, they did the bounciest, gnarliest. I don't know if you remember that. It's in More Than Conquerors. Still the best to me, bouncy, genty, whatever riffs. And at that moment, I remember thinking, oh, now I think they're gonna take off. Thinking like, oh, with the like with the new in my mind
right now.
Yeah, I was just like, okay, that's happening. But it didn't. Let's be honest, they were maybe heavier than a lot of the genty stuff. But as you said, in my mind, kind of always underrated somehow. Never understood why. So it's weird.
I don't know. I think for me personally, it just, I won't say they turned me away, because I did listen to them after, but I do remember when Nail Dead Risen came out, I was like, this is like nothing I've ever heard before. And then they released the Serpent to Servant later on. And I was like, this is 100% different. Like it's not the Impending Doom I know. He no longer did inhales. The riffs did not sound the same. The guitar tone was not the same. Like it wasn't it didn't sound like Impending Doom to me, personally to me, and no offense to Brook or anybody in Impending Doom. It was just like, oh, this now just kind of sounds like all the other stuff I'm hearing. It's not what I wanted to listen to originally. So I still thought it was heavy. I still thought it was great. I still went and saw them at shows plenty of times afterwards. But for me personally, like I would have liked to see them take that sound from the first album and put it into their albums later on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious to see what happened. Yeah, it would have been, because the riff was super good. But I'll be honest, like I think you have a good point. It was a big direction change. Like it was a big new thing, and it's always very risky to do that when you've built on something different. Like your audience is actually expecting more of it, and then you go somewhere else. It's always very
nailed dead risen again.
Yeah,
you know, right?
We wanted nailed dead risen too.
Yeah,
nailed dead risen. That's what we wanted.
Yep. There we
go. Like nailed dead risen. You know, you have to kill him again and bring him back again.
There you go. Yep. Have to raise him again.
Were you ever? I mean, East Coast bands. Were you ever a fan of With Blood Comes Cleansing?
Oh yeah, that's a band I forgot to mention that we played that album so many times when we were like going to shows or just hanging out. Really, like that would be honestly. What was it, Golgotha?
Yeah.
That was the album we would just put on all the time. I actually remember. Fuck, man, you guys are bringing back like all these memories. I remember buying that CD in Hot Topic, because back then Hot Topic actually had some good music and we would pick it out. None of us had ever heard that band before, but I was like, oh shit, this sounds cool. So I bought the CD, we put it in, and then that was the CD we listened to for like the next straight 4 or 5 months, dude. Like we jammed that album so hard because it was that fucking good. Mm-hmm. And I'm stoked to see that Ricky repressed their shit. I'm stoked to see that I think they're still making a comeback, aren't they? They're still
yes, sir. Yeah, they're still kicking it. They're still playing shows and everything. Yeah. Well, I mean, they were just. I think we're just playing some shows. They played a couple of shows, I think, with Impending Doom just a couple of weeks ago, actually. And they've been putting out music and stuff too.
That's cool. That's awesome.
You we were talking about the kind of the Fayetteville, North Carolina scene earlier.
Good old Vietnam. What do you want to know?
Yeah. No, well, I mean, talk to me about the sound vent.
The sound vent. I honestly, to God,
venue in Thomasville. No.
Sound vent. I am remembering the sound vent. Is that where we played with Impending Doom? I can't remember, man. Those venues that were kind of out there in places that we don't really go to, I don't really remember them that well. A lot of the ones I remember are like the brewery in Raleigh, the ones here in Fayetteville that we had, obviously, and just a few other places we would play. The sound vent, that rings a bell, but I'm having a hard time remembering exactly which venue that was.
Yeah, Ricky was telling me about sound vent, saying it was kind of like an iconic venue in North Carolina. Did you guys ever play, or did you like go to shows and stuff at Creations, the skate park?
Yeah, Creations. We played at Creations, I think once or twice. I know we at least played once. That was a weird show.
What was the setup for like a show at the skate park? Was it like one of those where you're like in a pipe or like, you know? Like,
yeah, we were literally like in the middle of a half pipe, man, just playing shows with our equipment.
That's amazing though.
It was nuts. Yeah. So that place was cool. And sorry, I'm still thinking of the sound vent, trying to think. I think I know where you're talking about. And I think that's where we played with Impending Doom and Whitechapel.
Okay.
But those shows were pretty cool. That venue was sick. I really like that venue. The names have left my mind. So
I mean, they haven't
been around for so long. It's been a hot minute.
And It was the early days of Whitechapel too, right? Like we're talking
Yeah.
six,
that
seven,
too.
yeah.
Come to think of it, yeah, this is like pre This Is Exile.
Yeah, no, I mean, we played with them when like their first albums were out. So the Somatic Defilement, Nail Dead Risen.
And they were famous for how violent their shows were. Like we heard that a couple times that people were going insane and
it was
crazy.
like, yeah, it was like watching a train just run through the fucking building, bro. Like people went nuts, and me included. You know, like I just went apeshit for that band when I first saw them, because I was so stoked to see them. They were that heavy, that good. His vocals were all, you know, outs, and I was like, dude, I want to do what he does. Because all my outs weren't as deep or guttural as his. They never will be. But yeah, dude, it was back in the early days, early days.
To be fair, Phil even now is the goal of tons of people. Like back then, everybody was just like, no one, like everybody wanted the lows, like Phil Lows. That was the it was kind of the ultimate. It was Mitch's highs and Phil Lows, and that's it. Like for the longest time, and even now, people want those lows. So it's pretty wild to think about it. But everything we've heard from their early days is I don't remember who told us that, but someone, I think it was Zach from Malaysia, but he said that they would be doing the sound check and people would start going crazy, and he would have to say like, we're not playing at the like chill, like, because during the sound check, like it's not set it up, like there's no secure, it's like you're not supposed to do that. So we would have like to stop and be like, guys, we're not starting, we're just chilling. It's pretty funny.
No, it's interesting you bring that up, because I think that happened when I saw them play at the Soapbox in Wilmington. I forget who they played with. They may have been playing with Muir. I can't remember. But I do know it was Whitechapel. And I want to say I was one of the people in there just getting rowdy before they even started playing, man. Like people were just going nuts. As soon as they started, it was wild. I mean, that venue was known for being pretty wild too, but Whitechapel in particular, every time I saw them, it was just a crazy show.
So full circle, the story, you were the person going crazy at the sound check. So that's just checks out.
Probably, maybe. I didn't care back then. I would do whatever.
It's funny it's funny you talk about like at a specific venue, it would tend to get rowdy there and stuff like that. Because I've been feeling in recent years specifically, like it's been harder and harder for venues to even still have like moshing in like a lot of these places. And we're not even just talking like Live Nation venues or like even some of the smaller venues. Like we were at Chain Reaction a couple of weekends ago, and
how was that? That was awesome.
It was insane. Yeah, it was insane. Elijah, that's who, for their comeback stuff. It was fucking insane, but it was
got kicked in the face after 2 seconds. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
Nice. Love it.
But it was special to kind of see what they had to do to try to contain moshers and moshing. And this is like a 250 cap venue that's like a legendary venue where you very well know shit's gone down in this place in the past, but now in 2025 it's like not the same reality anymore. And you always hear the same stories about, well, it's because we have to have insurance, and the insurers don't, like, they force us to put up and enforce no moshing, no stage diving, no crowd killing rules and stuff. And it's kind of crazy I don't know if you've noticed that at any venues where you've been going out in recent years, but I don't know, it's just different. Yeah.
Like what, bodyguards and just people like
bodyguard in the pit.
Really? I saw it pretty much. He was in the front, but where I would see the whole thing. Like he was like, the dude working there was right here, and he would honestly to be fair though, he would tell people first, right? He would be like, hey, people crowd killing or whatever they would. But I saw some people getting thrown out of the venue as they're playing. Like he would be moshing and then he would take the person
Like they
and
would
then throw them out.
allow a pit, but it was like a
Yeah.
strict, a kind of like a
With rules.
strictly no contact moshing, you know. And it's just I don't know. It's like a weird thing. You know, Elijah went on, and you know they could not contain
Good luck.
the crowd surfers and the
Nope.
stage divers. They just couldn't do it because there was not enough security to deal with the amount of people that were jumping for the mic and piling on and stuff like that. But for every other band, you know, it was kind of a bit of a weird thing. I don't know. It's kind of. I just bring this up because it's weird. Like you say, oh yeah, this venue is like known for getting rowdy and stuff, and I'm here thinking like I feel like even those venues now aren't like that anymore. It's just like different times, and I think it takes so much away. And I'm not like hey, go crowd killing like that. That's not. I don't really care. But there's like still a certain level of like, you know, heavy music where that's like a part of the show. That's a part of the thing, right?
It's part of the experience, definitely.
Yeah. No, I haven't seen, like back when we used to play shows at a place called Jester's Pub. That's the only place I've ever been to where they really had like security, and they'd throw you out for dancing too hard or for hitting people or for getting belligerent. But no, everything else here, like even recently, like shows are shows, man. You go, if you want to hardcore dance, you can hardcore dance. You want to push mosh, you can push mosh. You want to get wild, you can get fucking wild. Honestly, I mean, that's what I love about North Carolina. North Carolina is a hard state, man. Their shows are hard. They're cool. I think I was telling you earlier, I saw Kill Whitney Dead at the Soapbox. The same venue at Soapbox in Wilmington. That was one of the craziest experiences I've ever had at a show, man. Like there were people on stage blowing fire, throwing trash cans, toilet paper going everywhere, beer cans going places. The floor was wet and sticky, and everyone was just like going absolutely bonkers, dude.
That's so cool to hear. But I swear I haven't been to a show like that in like forever.
It's been a minute,
you know.
Yeah, it's been a minute since I've been to an actual show like that.
Yeah,
it'll get wild still.
Yeah, because it's part of, especially like we because when we talk about deathcore, I'm convinced that all of this comes from the hardcore part of deathcore, right? Like that the big part of the appeal of deathcore and metalcore was the hardcore energy and moshing. It's straight up from the hardcore scene, and it's, to me, telling, even though I don't mosh anymore because I used to, and now I'm probably gonna die if I try. I won't. But it's dude, yeah. I mean, I'm at the stage where I'm kind of happy to be home early. So I'm, you know what I like. Yeah. So that, I think that says everything.
Bro, tell me where I can go to a show and they get over at 10 o'clock and I'm fucking there. Like I'm happy. Yeah.
And you're actually happy. You're like, it's so cool. Yeah. Like you're thinking to yourself, I have time when I come back. Like that's the thing that I actually do. I'm like, oh, I'm going to have time tonight. Cool. It's finishing early. And then I realize, and I'm like, oh my God, the 16-year-old me would like punch me right now. Yeah. Like even thinking about it.
Like what? The show isn't going past 12? Fuck, what?
We cannot sit here. No, but it's just, you know, it's just part of it. But to me, telling people that they cannot mosh or crowd surfing or anything is basically like saying, hey, there's going to be a super huge party tonight, except you cannot drink and it's finishing at 9. Yeah. Like, oh, great. I guess that's going to be awesome. Like, I'm exaggerating a bit, but it's almost, you know, it's part of the show, and it's, you know, bands are looking forward to see that. Even like we were talking about that with Zach from Malaysia, right? For them, that's the entire, you see him smile as people are basically destroying each other, you know, like he's just like on stage and this is crazy, like he's pushing people. It's part of their show. Yeah. So if you remove that, it's, you know, imagine people sitting, like, you know what I mean? Like it's part of the show. You go crazy. So it's always
absolutely. I mean, I probably wouldn't go back to a venue if they did that. There's a venue out here in Greensboro that kind of they're not that heavy on security. You can still get pretty wild out there, but they have like no re-entry stuff like that. They're just kind of, I don't know. I don't really like venues that don't just let you do whatever you want to do, man. Like go, if you want to leave for a second, go get food with your friends, go get some food, drink beer inside, outside, like do whatever.
Or survive because like you're dying because it's too hot. Maybe you just want to survive for 4 minutes.
At Chain, it was no re-entry, and they had no AC in this clearly overpacked venue. So I was like, there's like a you could go outside. It was like behind the fence that would be the limit of the no entry. So you it was basically the smoker's pit just outside.
Just outside,
that was
like
where you could
area,
go get your air, you know, right in the smoker's pit. I was like, oh, great.
That's what that venue is like out here, man. Same thing. They have a little area out in the back and you can go out there and get some fresh air, but that's the only place you can go.
Yeah. No re-entry. I'll never understand no re-entry. Like just have a dude search me again. I don't, you know, like fuck it. You know, it's not the end of the world. Like they probably have to stand there the entire show regardless. So I've always had a problem with. There was a in recent years, like New England Metal and Hardcore Fest. I was looking at tickets for one of like last year, and it was a strict. Well, it was no re-entry, but it's like a 2-day festival. Like from 10 in the morning till midnight. I'm like, no re-entry for like the entire duration of a festival. Fuck you. If I don't want to buy your $10 water, let me go buy it somewhere else. Like, fuck you, you know? And then, but then the worst part was VIP was granted re-entry. So you could pay for VIP and then you could go in and out. I was like, there is no way this is a thing. It's like, man, I can't, man. It's like,
Yeah, I can't do it, man. No re-entry is criminal. It shouldn't be allowed. You should be allowed to leave and do what you want to do, especially for a fest like that.
Even I fully remember, like back, I think it was Vans Warped Tour 2014. They would start to say like no crowd surfing, and I was just like, I was watching because I love like pop punk music and stuff, and I was watching like the story so far, like it's part of what they do, like crowd surfing, and I would see security get mad, and I was like, well,
there's 20,000 people in front of this stage. Good luck, brother.
Yeah. It's just, you know, and they would get mad. And I was just like, what were you expecting exactly that was going to happen at Vans Warped Tour with a punk band playing? Like, what was your expectations with that exactly? People just standing there, like, that's the part I don't. Shows should be the example, like the I understand if someone is going out of their ways, you know what I mean, like people close to the bar, and then you hit random people. I get that, like, you know, that's not what you do, but like moshing, crowd surfing,
those are the shows I want to go to.
yeah the one you described with like stuff burning was probably similar. It was probably scary, like that's, you know what I mean, that's the kind
back, I don't know how they got away with that. Well, he was like, he was literally just blowing fire, like you see at the circus.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, big bottle of vodka or whatever, and it had the fucking candle or whatever the fuck it was, and he was blowing it out into the crowd. That's fucking nuts.
I have a question for you, though. Do you think, because we're talking about deathcore and stuff like that, I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong, but the hardcore scene, it's probably still as gnarly, right? Isn't it? Like, I would guess the hardcore scene specifically. I'm
saying, man, venues are venues, man. It's just, you're kind of at the mercy. Like, the thing with hardcore, it's maybe like the DIY venues and stuff like that, but it's harder and harder for those. They all get shut down, you know, new places creep up, but it's hard, dude.
I think hardcore is probably the hardest you're going to find, man. Like, just people being rowdy. Like, look at all the stuff that Sonny's doing with Hate 56, all the videos he puts out. Like, you look at half those shows, man, those people are going absolutely fucking nuts, especially for some of these bands. Like, I don't know. I was watching Power Trip recently, one of the videos on Hate 56, and that whole room just went nuts, you know? So everything in Philadelphia up there and that area, like, I've never seen any security like that, really. So
yeah, there's Dude, I was watching videos from Sound and Fury this year, and I was just like, dude, what there are no limits. It's like the gloves are off, man. I don't know. It's cool.
Bro,
it's cool. I love that sort of shit.
Watch a video to a Bad Luck 13 show, and you're gonna see how crazy it can fucking get, man. It's nuts. They had to shut the show down, I think. I think they shut it down every single time they play, but they're just known for being like it's just chaos, man. It's like a riot band. They start playing and lights start falling from the rafters, bleachers get turned upside down. Like it's nuts, dude.
Every time I hear something like that, my first thought is always, there are some people in the room, right, that their friends were like, hey, come at the show. They don't know exactly. People are just said it's a hardcore show and you're gonna like it, and they're like, oh sure, and then they get there. Like that happens for sure. There's some people there that are just like traumatized within seconds, like
never go back.
Exactly. Like, oh, so I'm getting out of that place. Like I'm sure that probably happened like many times.
If I can find the video that I'm thinking of, it was for some fest. I forget what fest it was. It might have been Hellfest. But that band Bad Luck 13 played. I'll send it to you guys to show you how.
I would be curious.
Fucking
well,
nuts.
a lot of this year's Hellfest, the footage looked fucking awesome too. That's cool.
Really,
That's
haven't
cool.
seen
They're
any.
like, it's cool. I'm terrible with these kind of lineups. So I watched the Recon set, and that was enough for me. I was like,
I wish I could see that. Oh my god! Yeah, I got
it's going hard for that sort of band, but
okay, that blew by my head. Recon the band. Okay.
Yes, sir.
They're still around playing.
Apparently, man, they do like these weird one-off shows every now and then. Yep. And it's the
Looks
same.
Really good
it's the same songs that are as hype as before. It's not like they've been like just, releasing more music. They've just been doing these like I don't think they consider them like reunion shows, but it's just they're still kicking it.
Cool, man. Mm-hmm. I really dig Recon back in the day. They were cool. I got to see them. I think correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know. I think we actually may have played with them. They may have been on that lineup with Whitechapel and no. I think that was I think I saw Recon with My Children, My Bride.
Oh my god.
Probably at the venue you had mentioned earlier. That's probably the venue that you're thinking of.
Yeah.
Huh. Dude, what a Recon and My Children, My Bride. Like that's
it was a pretty sick show. I liked it. It was dope.
I bet.
And they were more, they had those hardcore riffs anyway, those kind of tough guy hardcore breakdowns.
And you look at the dudes and really cool. I mean, like someone from the outside would think it's just like a straight up hardcore band. Yep. You know what I mean? And I'm so sad that we did the podcast with Kyle here, and we're talking, and he mentioned Recon, and he's just like, do you know them? And I didn't. So I'm like, no. He's like, what? Because I was talking about Demolisher, Jerome, all those bands, and he's just like, and you don't know Recon. Like as we're doing the podcast, he's sending it to me on Facebook, like I'm here, and he's just like, you're gonna have after the pod. And I dude, really one of the best things I've not kidding, like one of the best things I've ever heard is Recon. Like they're good, man. So freaking sick.
Like
really
the perfect blend of the like more pure hardcore kind of vibes, but with deathcore breakdowns. It's just like it like somehow makes no sense, but it does. It's fucking
it works.
It fills your ears, man. It's good.
Yeah,
I liked it. People went nuts for them too. I think people were flying off of the big speakers they had on stage, just jumping off, going nuts.
Believe you, 100%. We were talking about venues, and I would be mad at myself if I don't ask that question. You mentioned weird shows. I don't know if you're gonna remember, but like, do you have like the weirdest in your mind? Because like back then during MySpace, there would be like backyard shows, like weird shows. Do you remember this? Maybe the strangest or the show that you haven't, that you're like, what is this? You know what I mean? Or
I've got one. We played a house show once. I don't even remember who the fuck it was. I don't remember where it was in North Carolina, but it was somebody's house. Life Ruiner played with us, And it was it was honestly, dude, it was probably an area the size of my room where the band would play, and it was just packed. You had the screen doors, the sliding screen doors, people were out in the backyard. You're just in this tiny room just playing music, and people everywhere in the house. It was weird, just because it was like, okay, what the fuck do we do? You know, we got there, started hanging out with some of our buddies that we knew, but after you get done playing, there were so many people there I didn't know. I was just hanging out on a couch upstairs. Eventually I went to our SUV and just hung out there because I was like, I don't know anybody here. But definitely it was a weird experience because I'd never played a house show before. And it was a tiny atmosphere filled with people I didn't know in a location I had never been. But it is one of those just vivid memories I have in the back of my mind. Like it was weird, but it was also a pretty cool ass show.
I would love to hear how the conversation went. Like, hey, dude, I'm going to set a show at my home. And people are just like, what? Like, we're in this tiny room. And then we're
in this basement level.
Yep. And so what's going to be the setup? We're going to figure it out. No clue. Just when they're going to get here, we're just going to go with what happens. And that's because honestly, that's kind of what you're describing. It was basically just like, I'm doing a show here. It's not a venue. It's just a place and it's going to happen type thing.
All you really need is like some sort of PA to run shit through, and that's about it.
Oh yeah, it was a shitty ass PA. All you could hear were the guitars and the drums. Couldn't hear my vocals. It was a fun time.
I have a question coming from the oldest version of myself here. But when you play in a house show, since it's a house, are you received better with like food or whatever? It's a weird question, I know, but I would picture like if I would do something at my place, I would probably like, you know what I mean? Like for the bands and everything, you're in a home, like in a house or something. Like, are you better? I guess maybe a better question would be, if the venue is super DIY and it's like some person, are you better received in terms of like food and being taken care of, or it's just random depending?
It was so long ago that I don't remember what they did aside from us playing the show. So they may have been having a barbecue there. I honestly don't remember. I don't remember if we ate or not. The only thing I do remember is we got food, I think, from like Walmart beforehand or after. You know, we hung out in the Walmart parking lot most of the night.
Let's be honest. Back then, if you offer a barbecue, the band is gonna say yes, probably. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you're if you're received with some barbecue food, people would be like, "I'm playing no matter what" at that place.
I think back then though, it was just the thrill of playing shows. Like, we're still a new band. We want to get our name out there. We want to play wherever the fuck we can play. So even if there wasn't a barbecue or food, I wouldn't have cared personally. I would have said, yeah, I'll play your house. I don't give a shit.
Yeah. And again, it's a very old version of me who's right now thinking about what we're eating and stuff. Like at 16, I would have been like, I'm going to drink water. I'm okay. Who cares? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but I'm going to drink but now I'm like, I'm thinking about the food as if it would be happening for me now, but I'm just older. Are we comfortable? Can we sit when we get on this?
Can we do that? We weren't quite at that rock star stage yet to be food and pizzas and this or that. So
not on the radar. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'd have two kind of things that I'd like to kind of land the plane with here, because we have been going for a little bit here. But I'd love to touch on the vinyl. But first, I'd like to at least briefly touch on, I guess, the reunion shows and maybe a bit of the breakup. You kind of mentioned it in passing. I was reading through the old Myspace. It was kind of like, we're not a band anymore because of creative differences, but we're all super good friends still.
So you can find that? Is that still around?
Yeah,
still up there?
Yeah, you can Wayback Machine that sort of stuff. There's a couple pages available. I'll
Okay.
send you some links. But yeah, so I was wondering, I guess initially like the band breakup and then the reunion, it was a couple shows. Like, what was the deal with that? Was there plans for more? I know there was like a full length that was like reportedly in the works initially before the breakup. Like, curious about kind of the ending of the band.
So we, I mean, as I said before, like I was very, very young. I was 16, 17. And when I was a senior in high school, we had actually, not me, but Jared, our guitar player, because he kind of handled everything. He was the oldest in the band. And he was kind of the forerunner for all of our merch and getting shit done.
Yeah.
But he was in talks with the dudes from Tragic Hero Records, and they were actually talking about signing us. I never saw the paperwork. I never saw the conversations. I don't know how real that actually was. But I got the feeling it was a really real thing. And I just got to thinking, like, what is this what I'm going to do with my life? You know, I'm 18, I'm in high school. I don't have any skills. I don't necessarily see Christian deathcore getting me anywhere in life. So as much as I loved playing shows and liked doing it and being in a band, I was like, I got to do something, you know, I'm about to graduate high school and I need to have something in line to have this family that I want to, you know, make a living. So I just decided one day that I, you know, I'm going to choose a different path in my life and do something different. So I think at first it was kind of a sore thing. Cause I know Jared, especially, like that was his thing. That's where he wanted to take it, man. He wanted to get signed. He wanted to go on tour. He wanted to do everything. And we had bought a lot of equipment, man. Like a lot of bands out there that I see, they'll go on tour for years before they even buy like full cabs and like full bass cabs, full guitar cabs, and like the real expensive shit. And because we wanted to get to where we wanted to be, like they had already bought all that. So when we showed up at a show, we were the band bringing in full cabs, and, you know, giving you the best performance that we could possibly give you at that moment in time. Mm-hmm. But I don't know, maybe I got cold feet. I wanted to do something else. I didn't see it bringing me much of a future. And I felt like if I had stayed with that for like the next, you know, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 years, whenever we would have broken up, I would have left that band having nothing, you know?
Yeah.
I'd have to either go back to school or do this or that. And I didn't want to do that. I wanted to go somewhere right when I graduated.
Which, to be realistic here, would have been likely. Not any of this, what you guys did, it was awesome, but deathcore period, in terms of money and future in general, you know, you look at Lorna Shore right now, and I'm sure they're doing very well financially, and then ask them between 2009 and 2018 how much they made in general, and you're gonna have your answer. I'm pretty sure the response is going to be a negative. How much it cost during those years more than how much they made. So
you have to be in it for the long haul, or you're not going to make it. And I didn't have faith that we would be the band that would make it and stay around for 15, 20 years, like some of these bands you still see around, you know.
Difficult thing though, telling your people, right? Like, especially you're talking about the members who, you know, inside that they want to, right? And now you're the vocalist, and you have to, because like, not to say that the vocalist is the most important, but usually how it goes is if the vocalist is quitting, you know, I'm not saying you can, some bands can do it, but let's be honest, we hear more stories of the vocalist is leaving, and then, you know, it's kind of
you're done.
Yeah. So must have been hard for you to just be like, you know what you're about. Your decision is you took your decision, but it's just like, you know, you're going to tell that, Because sometimes bands are on the same page, right? They're all kind of happen naturally. But when you're the one who's like, okay, guys, you know what I mean? Like it's a difficult thing. So, but you listen to your
rough.
gut. It's cool though.
Yeah, because I know I know they wanted to continue on doing what they did. And I was like, sorry,
Listen
guys.
to yourself. It's okay.
Yeah.
No, but it's
You have to, man. You have to do the best thing for you. You have to listen to yourself.
Yes.
Don't listen to what anybody else wants you to do. Like, live your life for you. Don't live it for anybody else.
Did they kind of call it quits then, just around that time too? I know you were mentioning maybe that, you know, a member was trying to keep the band going and stuff, but the reality is that there was like a hard stop at one point where it was like, hey, we're done, and played a last show, and like before the couple reunion shows.
I want to say, from what I remember, we didn't do a hard stop immediately. I think Jared said he was going to continue to try to find a vocalist.
Try and find someone, yeah.
Yeah, and from what I remember, I think our drummer Garrett, I think he left when I did too. He's like, well, if you're going to go, I'm just going to.
Yeah. Right.
So I think he was trying to look for a drummer, which is hard as fuck to do, and then also look for a vocalist, which, you know, I think he tried for a while, but eventually realized this isn't gonna. It's not gonna happen. So I think that's when he probably called it quits, because I had no control over the MySpace or anything that happened on the page.
Yeah.
I just saw it all go down.
And then you guys a couple of years later come back to do a couple shows. Was that kind of planned as just these two shows, or were there talks of maybe making music or kind of getting back into it, or was it just strictly like, hey, let's do these shows because maybe people are asking for it, or what was the deal there?
Looking back, I do wonder if like the other guys in the band had like plans to see where it would have gone. Maybe get back together, but that was never my intention. Like when we had those shows, I think I was what was I doing? I don't remember if I was in trade school or if I already had a job. But you know, I was already like,
I was already on a different path. Yeah,
already on a different path. So I never had any plans to do that. I don't know if that was something they hoped might have happened. I don't like to assume, but it was, for the time being, it was just, you know, hey, let's give them one last hurrah and just give them one last show, because we really didn't do that. You know, we just kind of disbanded and said, well, that's it. That's all on solid ground.
Was that cool to kind of do those two shows and to kind of get back with the boys, and then on the other hand, kind of, you know, give it a one last go, like a final hurrah kind of thing, a proper goodbye?
It was, man. When we played Jesters in Fayetteville, it was crazy because there was a line out the door, and we'd never gotten that kind of reaction. And then I start talking to some of these people, and they're all like, "Yeah, man, we're here to see you guys." And you know, some people had driven from 4, 5, 6 hours away just to come see us play for one last time. So it was a humbling experience. It was really cool, and I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I thought that was probably the best thing we could have done, just to bring a close to the band.
That's cool to hear. That, I mean, because it kind of, it's probably a lot more closure after something like that than the way it had been left off. And you don't really like control those things initially, right? Like you left because you had to leave, and it is what it is, right? But it's cool when you kind of have the opportunity to do a do-over, to kind of, not to right the wrongs, but, you know, just to kind of rewrite that history a little bit and be like, hey, no, this is our proper goodbye, and let's celebrate this, and let's not end this on like a bad note or whatever, right?
Yeah. And I think that was the best possible thing to happen, because you know, when we did disband at first, like it kind of, there weren't any fights or arguments, and you know, they understood, but it did, I think, leave kind of a sour taste in some of the guys' mouths. So when we finally got back together and said, hey, let's do this reunion show, let's play one last time, at least for me, it was a way for all of us to come back together and be like, look, we're all cool.
Yeah.
And I'm cool with all those guys. I talk to Garrett from time to time. I've not talked to Jared or Matt in years, probably since the reunion show. I don't know where they're at or what they're doing. I talked to our other guitarist, David, when Ricky was going through and doing the vinyl.
Yeah, cool.
But those were the only two guys I could get a hold of were Garrett and David. I don't even know if Jared knows that we have a vinyl, you know. I have no clue. I don't know if anybody's let him know or what he's doing.
Yeah.
Love all those dudes to death, and I'd love to kick it one day. You know, if we can all get back together and just hang out. But I've got love for all of them. So.
Well, I mean, speaking on the vinyl, that's kind of I'd love to kind of land it with that. Like, you know, Ricky from Secret Swarm, I assume hit you up to do this, because we were kind of talking earlier about kind of maybe the unexpected nature of people even having interest in this sort of thing in 2024, 2025, right? So can you kind of walk us through kind of that and that whole experience, how that went?
Yeah, it was just out of the blue, man. Like, I want to say, I'll have to go back and actually ask Ricky, because I don't remember how this came about. I have terrible memory when it comes to these things.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say one of my friends, Isaac, who was in a local band called Dead Arsenal, I want to say he gave Ricky my number. I could be wrong. And if I'm wrong, I'm sorry, Ricky. But yeah, basically, like he texted me out of the blue. I was like, hey man, my name's Ricky from Secret Swarm. Just want to shoot an idea your way, see if this would be something you'd be cool with doing. And I was all for it. You know, he covered everything, you know, like why the fuck not?
Mm-hmm.
So
cool dude.
He's such a fucking cool dude, man. Like I am so thankful that he did that for us, because I honestly thought it was just gonna, you know, die. I'd never hear about it again. But he hit me up. I was a little skeptical at first, just because I was like, are you sure? Like I don't know that many people want to hear our shit.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's gonna do as well as I think you think it's gonna go. But it actually, you know, it did pretty well for how long we were around. So I really appreciate that he did that.
Take it from us, people care more than maybe expected in general. People really care. I keep repeating that, but the craziest part to me is to see kids that were not even around during the MySpace era, you know, listening to all those maybe more niche or underground projects and loving it so much. You know what I mean? Like wearing like Jerome hoodies and stuff, and you're just like,
that they bought for $175 off Depop. Yeah. I wish that money went to the bands, but you know.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
It does not.
It doesn't. But it's wild to see. Like that would have been the last thing I would have guessed back then, is that kids later would love like MySpace deathcore, like of all things, like ever. I would have said like, oh no, I mean, impossible. You know, it was already underground back then. So I would have been like, dude, like it's gone after a few years, you know. So that's
but I mean,
cool.
it kind of makes sense, because I do that now. Like I listen to music all day long, and I will search new genres, new bands, and I'll go back and I'll find something randomly, and then I'll find out, oh, this band has been around for like 40 years. You know, there's this old rock band, or, you know, this fucking bluegrass band that's been around for forever. And I'm just now hearing about them, and now I've added them to my repertoire. So I do the same exact thing.
Yeah, it's a cool feeling to find something and just, you know, like when you're struck gold or something, you're just like, oh my God, you know, it's a good feeling.
Such a great feeling. I love that. Love that feeling.
Best. That's why MySpace was so sick.
Have you ever thought about or considered doing music again? Because it's one thing to be like, okay, you know, going into a career doing these things, but obviously it's not because you hated music all of a sudden either. And music is, you know, it can be as big or as small as you want it to, right? It doesn't have to be in the goal of being in a touring band. So I'm just curious if you've ever had that itch since then, or if you've dabbled at all.
I have. I had a little side project band with my friend John that we did a 5-song demo. It's still on Bandcamp, actually.
Wait, what's this called? I want to hear.
Yeah.
It's called Fatal Vision.
Okay.
So if you look up Fatal Vision, North Carolina, Bandcamp, it'll pull up. You're going to see like an eyeball with like dripping liquid out of it, and then an FV in the middle.
Different style
red and white. It's more hardcore metal.
Okay. I got it.
And I just basically do mids and a few low outs, but mainly just mids, so just hardcore.
Different vocal styles, basically.
Different vocal styles, yeah. So that's it right there. We recorded this, and COVID hit. Some things happened between some band members, myself and another band member, and we just kind of broke up and didn't go anywhere with it. Now, John, who was our guitar player, who plays bass for a band called One by One. It's a street punk band, and they're doing pretty well for themselves. They fucking kill it, man. They're dope. So,
yeah,
shout out to those guys.
That's who you went to see last week. That's where you were saying, right? Yeah.
They're killing it.
Awesome.
Hell yeah.
But if anybody ever offered, like, said, hey, do you want to come do something? If it was something I felt interested in doing, then yeah, I'd go for it.
Hell yeah. That's cool to hear, because it's just I think especially now, like back in the day, maybe it was a bit of a more complicated thing to set up, but now, dude, you know, people can record in their bedrooms. Everything can be done through the internet.
Online.
It's kind of hard now to do a shitty mix, even if you don't know what you're doing, so it's kind of like sky's the limit for that sort of stuff. So for people who still want to tap into creating music and stuff, I just feel like back then there was a lot of, if you wanted to do music, it was I feel like for a lot of people, it was all or nothing. It was kind of like the other guys in your band you're kind of talking about, like, it's like, okay, if we want to do this, we have to like fully do this, buy all the things, have all the amps, try to go be on tour as much as possible. And to a certain extent, that was kind of like the only way. Because it otherwise would have been like super expensive to just go into a studio to record a side project that you're doing for shits and giggles, right? But now it's a bit easier to do that sort of thing, just a random side project, or to get together with some friends and put out some decent recordings at the very least. So that's cool to hear, man.
Yeah, people are figuring this shit out, man. People can do this at home. You don't even have to go to a practice space, and you can make some badass tracks. I love it. I think it's cool. I would still want to practice in a practice space and do it all the old school way. Go to a recording studio. But I think it's awesome that these guys with all this amazing amount of talent can just put this shit together right at home.
Mm-hmm. Okay, last question.
Do
you still do inhales?
No, if I tried to do those right now, I'd choke.
I feel like
because it's the same for him. I think he said.
I can't do them anymore.
I can't. It doesn't happen. I mean, if I tried to practice, and kept at it, maybe, but no, I can't.
It's funny. It's the same. Yeah, it's the same for me. I switched to doing all outs, and ever since then, I don't know, there's like a mental blockage or something. It just the muscle reflex just isn't there anymore. And what people used to tell me back in the day when trying to do them but being unable to do them would be exactly what you said. Oh, if I try, it just makes me like cough or choke or whatever. And I never understood that because I could just do it. But now I'm that guy. I'm that. That's me now. So
I was like, oh shit, I can't do this anymore.
Like I got now I know how it feels. But cool, man. Well, dude, thank you so much, man, for taking the time to do this. I know you've been kind of off the internet and not really doing interviews and stuff like that, or talking to people about music. So it was cool to be able to link up and have this conversation with you. I feel people can't have this conversation with you normally. So I'm very, very grateful to have had this convo with you, man.
No, thank you, Dom and Jan. Is it Jan or Yan?
It's Yan, but usually people say Jan, so it's
gotcha. No, I'm so thankful and appreciative to both you guys for allowing me to do this. I never thought anyone would want to hear a single fucking word out of my mouth about this band. So I appreciate it.
Well, for what it's worth, it was super interesting and fun too. Like it really flew by. Like I know I'm talking for the both of us, but like the conversation itself was super cool. Like you had a lot of interesting stories and stuff. So, you know, and I'm sure we could have kept, you know, like kept going for sure. But that's why we're here, you know, to go back in time and seeing you also. I could tell that you were reminding things. You know, remembering stuff as you're going and telling something. I could see your face just like, oh, there's this. It's cool. That's why we're here, you know, so it's going to be, it was a cool one.
Appreciate you guys digging those memories back up because now I have some.
So we're here.
Oh yeah. Well, let's see.
For real.
Go for it.
I was just going to say, like keep in touch. And if you guys are ever in North Carolina, please hit me up. We can hang out. We'll go do something.
Absolutely. Sure. I mean, Ricky's been begging us to go down, so we'll have to make something happen.
I've been meaning to go out there too, to make a drive out there where he's at and see him. So I have not even like met him officially. So
yeah.
That'd be great if I could meet all you dudes at the same time.
Hell yeah,
that'd be awesome.
Well, yeah, for sure. We'll keep in touch and yeah, we'll let you get on with your night. And thanks again for doing this.
Thanks again. Yeah.
Sounds good. Thank you guys.
All right, peace out, dude.
Take care.
Peace.
If you made it to the end of this episode, thank you for watching. And hey, while you're here, hit that subscribe or follow button and a review. If you're watching or listening on a podcast platform, it would mean the world and it helps out more than you know. A big thank you as well to all of our supporters over on Patreon and on Twitch. New episodes every week, links to our Patreon, Discord, and socials in the description. We'll see you soon. We're out.